Welcome to Miami-Dade, another day, another Dollar Pete game. It's your boy Munch. I got my co-host with me, Janae. What's good?
Hey, y'all.
We in the Panera bread. Trapping ain't dead. I got two special guests in the biddy with me today. You know, I wish I had y'all on the show like a long time ago, but we here. Fuck it.
I don't blame Janae Tate at all.
You should not blame
don't
Janae
blame
Tate.
her.
And our two special guests tonight, Senator Dwight Bullard and President of Miami Chapter's NAACP, Ruban Roberts. It's so good to have you guys. Thank you for joining
having
us.
What he said.
Yeah.
Speaking for the senator.
So we'll just jump right in tonight. These two gentlemen, they were on, was it criminal justice reform, and it was a really interesting conversation. And guys, this issue is going to be on the ballot. Can we inform our listeners like why this is important for them to pay attention to? Because I feel like right now all the mania is around Gillum, and that's a good cause, but there's some other things we need to pay attention to.
Yeah, hold on. Like, I feel like Dwight, since you the new political director of New Florida Majority.
Correct.
Yeah, I want to make sure I say it right.
No doubt.
So can you kind of give us like I guess set the stage or give us like the whole full political landscape in a nutshell of what's going on in this election and why it's important?
So people talk about elections being important, and all of them are in their own right and respect, because fundamentally what you get with an election is really a changing of the guard when it's working, right? You're voting for new mayors, new presidents, new state reps, new congresspeople. But this one is really historical, right, for a couple different reasons. All right, so Janae talked about the hype around Andrew Gillum, and there's a reason to be hype and hopeful, right? You're talking about somebody who just in their representation represents the first black, or potentially the first black governor in the history of the state of Florida. So imagine, if you will, a slave state. That's what Florida was, right? Electing someone who is the descendant of those very people who weren't enslaved, and what that means for the other descendants and for people who are newly minted here. So that's historical and game changing, but also on the same ballot, and equally important, if not more important, is the changing of the Constitution via what we know as Amendment 4. Amendment 4 would restore voting rights to 1.4 million formerly incarcerated, what we like to call returning citizens. And what people don't fully appreciate is that Florida is one of 3 states that has permanently barred people from getting their voting rights back due to a felony conviction. It's been in the Constitution since 1868, since right after slavery supposedly ended. And it's been there, and it's caused so many, countless folks who have unfortunately passed away to never be able to access the ballot box. But what a lot of folks, I think, oftentimes get confused about is these are people who cannot vote now. So we need the people who can vote to get out there and make the difference. So you're voting for that 1.4 million people. And who will hopefully get their rights back. So, it's 2 very pivotal, game-changing occurrences that Floridians really can take account for and take.
Don't forget the Attorney General.
Oh, I mean that's a whole nother thing. I was keeping that a secret. You know what I'm saying? Ruben over here just busting it open because he was already, But it's true.
Couple weeks ago. With Sean Shaw, I seen him at the forum that NAACP political roundtable. Yeah, man,
hey.
I was like,
Hey,
I see what he was talking about.
Don't tell nobody. No, but it's seriously, yeah. So those 3 elections: the Attorney General, the governor of the state of Florida, and when people say, well, don't make it about race. What I mean, the significance of it from a racial standpoint is that these are people, when you think about having never had a black person or a person of color in those positions.
2 top lawmakers.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Representation.
For the state of Florida. You're talking to a senator now, former senator. 2 top lawmakers for for the state of Florida that understands your issue. That right there is powerful.
So we've only elected 2 black governors in the history of the United States, right? And the idea that you have 3 black people running for governor this year in 3 different states, all in the South, is indicative of kind of really where we are, right? And the election of those 3 would be a game changer for so many different things. Think about Georgia. Think about Florida. Think about the history of those states. Think about some of the challenges. You're talking about a state in which Dr. King is buried in, right? Yeah. You're talking about another state in the state of Florida in which Thurgood Marshall, in his analysis of the South, said basically he would never set foot in Florida again because of the racial challenges that he saw faced by the people that were here. And now in 2018, we have a chance to elect a new governor.
So with that being said, I want to segue into Ruban and your job with the NAACP. We talked about Thurgood Marshall, but a lot of people don't know about Harry T. Moore. Harry T. Moore was in Brevard County trying to register guys for the Democratic Party. This guy was bombed in his house, right? If the story goes right. So, and that was and then he lost his job. He went against the school board. Trapping ain't dead. We talk about the school board a lot. So I want to talk about the NAACP's role in this fight. I know y'all. I've been seeing a lot of stuff about this new 5-year get out to vote type of campaign. I don't know I forget what the actual name of it is, but can you elaborate on that a little bit?
So we've been doing this in terms of our civic engagement for a while, but I think that under the new leadership of the national president, Derek Johnson, we're trying to format it in a way to there's a particular formula. So you want to make sure that you do 5 days of some sort of volunteering. You want to make sure that you get at least 5 people to the polls to vote and that sort of thing, and so on and so forth. And I think this is just to have a formula for folks to be activated, to get mobilized, because you can't complain if you don't vote. And that's one of the things that we really want to do, make sure that folks are out there activated and getting the vote out. We don't want folks to feel, because you're hearing everybody say, I'm going to vote for this guy, I'm going to vote for that guy, that they don't have to go out and vote. No, you need to go out and vote for sure then, because, you got other people that may feel that way. So we want to make sure folks are out and exercising their civil rights.
Yeah, back to the forum. Can you two speak on those amendments that are on the ballot? I heard Amendment 4 and Amendment 11. So can you let us know what they are and what you recommend they should vote for? I don't know if you guys can do that.
Well, I have no problem. Amendment 4 for me is a straightforward recommendation. This, as I mentioned before, is the restoration of voting rights for 1.4 million Floridians, our friends and neighbors, people you don't know have been barred from voting for their entire adult life, that are now going to get an opportunity to do so. So that within itself is a yes vote for me, and should be a yes vote for everybody. Especially, everybody listening to Trapping Ain't Dead. You got a cousin, you got a friend, you got a homie who's impacted by this legislation, by the Constitution, by the language there. So y'all got to make a commitment. I'll leave it to Ruban to talk about Amendment 11.
No, don't give me 11. That's you. Don't even try that.
You're not going to do it?
No, you got 11.
11's a tricky one.
11's a bit of a tricky one. I'll go ahead and step out there, because during the forum tonight, the ACLU takes a particular position on Amendment 11 because it does have some dated language from the Constitution in there. It talks about the alien.
What is Amendment 11? Let's start there, right?
So Amendment 11.
It's a bunch of things, really.
So we have this thing called the Constitutional
Revision
Revision Commission. It's every 20 years this commission is convened, 37 members, all appointed by Republican folks, whether it's in this case. So 15 appointees by the governor, 9 appointees by Speaker of the House, 9 appointees by the Senate President, and 3 appointees by the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court make up this 37-member panel of a lot of folks that, some are lobbyists, some are legislators, some are former legislators, a mixture of a lot of folks who really we don't know, who, even though it's been publicized, the idea that people who listen to, for instance, this podcast should have access to a panel like that. Like, it should, if we're going to talk about expansion of democracy, if you're going to talk about convening this group, then there should be more of a democratic process in terms of who makes it up. It should be people who actually review the Constitution and make a determination on what needs to not be in there. So I'll give you an example. If Amendment 4 deals with the Constitution, 20 years ago or 20 years before that, why didn't someone on that same panel when it was convened say it's dead wrong for us to continue to treat these people the way they do? That being said, to Amendment 11 specifically, Amendment 11 is one of those constitutional amendment proposals from the CRC that has a lot of topics covered. And people are going to see a bunch of amendments like that just talk about multiple topics, multiple subjects, and it's going to create a sense of confusion. And Amendment 11...
And it's couched in this whole thing about victims' rights, you know what I mean? And so one of the things that you have to look at is that when and Dwight can speak more to this than I did, when you see that they give this catchphrase, if you will, for something that they want to pass, it's like they dump in these amendments that have more than one topic. They just dump everything that they want to pass in it. So it's a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag. So there's some good stuff in it that you definitely want to support, and then there's some stuff that's not so good. So that's why you have to do your research when you look at these amendments, especially when you have it when they're dumping everything in it like that.
Yeah, and so this one talks about old language about aliens.
Right, aliens having the right. It's crazy.
But then
man.
the other part of it is it eradicates the language in the Constitution about high-speed rail.
Right.
So if you remember a while back, Rick Scott could have taken billions of dollars to get high-speed rail.
Right.
Part of
create millions of jobs.
Why you get rid of this is because, truth be told, he violated the Constitution by denying those dollars. Right. So but no one called him on it because the job of the Attorney General, another office we're voting on, would have been to call him to say, hey, you now have officially violated the Constitution by denying Floridians their constitutional right to a higher speed form of transportation. So instead, you mysteriously have this same committee say, all right, we're going to package something where we're going to talk about getting rid of old dated language. Now, the alien property ownership piece goes back to the 19th century. We passed the high-speed rail piece in the 2000s. And they're saying now it's outdated language. And so now once you get rid of it, that means that there's no constitutional provision that says that we need to now develop a system of high-speed rail. Now, for those people who believe in the environment, you have things like maglev technology, tunnel technology. This is one of those things where we talk about a public transportation infrastructure that are low emission to no emission and expedient. So imagine, if you will, if you can envision a situation where you can hop on a train in Miami and get to Jacksonville in under an hour.
Are you serious?
That's the kind of technology that they have in other countries with no emissions, no nothing. But instead, we're sitting there still using choo-choo trains and tracks and doing all these other things.
Our carbon footprinting is like just through the roof.
They're making these kinds of impacts. So when they put those two things together that really have nothing to do with each other, it puts people in a position where it's like, okay, what do I do? And you see other amendments like that as well. The one that's become infamous at this point is both banning drilling and vaping. Right?
At the same time?
At the same time. Right? So it's like, what does one have to do with the other? But again, this Constitutional Revision Commission has the authority to put multiple subjects on it. And for the brothers and sisters listening, they got one amendment on there talking about creating a domestic terrorism department within the state of Florida. So what does that mean? It's like almost like a state version of ICE, that now they're asking you to create. So it's crazy that these people who say we want to shrink government are actually trying to expand government through these proposals. So keep an eye out. For me personally, and this is Dwight Bullard speaking, I'm voting yes on 4 and no on everything else.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's what I was going to say. Our listeners are probably not going to do that research, and they're
Right.
No, and like I said,
give us some suggestions.
So yes on 4, no everything
yes
else.
on Amendment 4. Big yes on Amendment 4. Bubble that thing dark.
Yeah, just
Everybody
think.
need their rights back. All the fellas need their rights back.
Just think 4. Yes on 4.
Yes on 4.
Yeah, just on 4.
But I want to say this: don't skip the other ones.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying I'm voting yes on 4 and voting no on all the other ones. So that means to bubble no.
What happens if you skip?
If you skip, then then whoever does vote for or against them makes the determination.
Their vote counts and yours doesn't.
Exactly.
So you want to make sure you vote. Now, I'll tell you, you can go on Facebook, NAACP Miami-Dade branch. We have our amendments on there and our recommendation. So I can't say that I'm voting on no on everything else, but I can tell you that vote yes on 4. The other thing I want you to understand is that these laws that are being created, there is a huge concern about the browning of America. And I want you to take into consideration when you hear them talking about aliens can't own property in Amendment 11. When you hear them talking about creating this ICE type of organization, there's a huge concern about the browning of America, because they know by the 2040, 2050, Anglos won't be the majority.
Yeah.
And so that is something that you see happening, where laws are being created and enacted so that they can try to preserve as much of their power or that sort of thing as they can. Because if every man and woman has the right to vote and we outnumber
them,
think about what the consequences of that are.
We vote how we want to vote. We make decisions how we want to make decisions, and they don't really have. They have the same amount of say-so as we have now.
Right.
The table's concerned, and that's why voting is important now.
Right. So for those that say
it's a long game.
Right. So for those who say my vote won't make a difference, trust me. You start that process and keep that process going, it will make a difference. It made a difference in the primary.
Yeah.
Sure did.
Yeah.
It made a huge difference in the primary.
Because they don't never count us in the polls.
I'm like, who are they talking to?
Because we didn't know who to vote. We didn't know nobody else but Gillum.
Right.
I was like, I'm sorry. I ain't see nobody in my neighborhood.
But what I would say to folks out there, I mean, we always talk about the importance of checking these things out. For your listeners, right, here it is, you're using the technology that goes online, pulls up these conversations and everything, and the same technology that we use to listen to podcasts, to watch movies, to stream, is the same technology you can use to find out the truth about folks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you going to sources that you believe in. More importantly, 90%, 95% of them are developing these websites that are basically telling you how they feel. The one thing that you have to understand about folks like a Rick Scott or a Trump is that they're doing exactly what they said they were going to do. You can't argue down that they weren't honest. You just thought, oh, that's outlandish.
They just talking to their people.
Yeah, he can't pass a Muslim ban. Wrong. He can find a way. You know what I'm saying? Oh, he won't cut this program or cut that program. Rick Scott cut $1.3 billion out of education back in 2010.
Oh my God.
Yep.
$1.3 billion. Like,
and
just
gave
like
tax
it wasn't
breaks
nothing.
to the rich.
Right? Has yet to restore that funding, has yet to offer up any solutions, and now he wants to be your senator. Your U.S. senator, and you think
not your governor, your senator.
You think he wants to? He's gonna go up to D.C. and just do right by y'all now? Get out of here, right?
No.
You know what I mean? And it's those kinds of things
that
that people are like, well, lesser two evils. I don't want to vote for this. Here's the reality: when it comes to lesser two evil, what you're acknowledging is that one person is less evil than the other one.
Right.
So you're absolutely right. The person who intentionally steps on your foot, you can call them evil. But I'll take that over the person who will shoot me.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
You understand what I'm saying? Like,
make a choice.
And those are the
shoot
kinds
or get
of things.
shot.
But even beyond that, if you really, really delve into it and understand, voting is a sense of accountability. Prime example in American history, right? We passed the Civil Rights Act in 1964. 69% of the country was voting. We haven't had rates that high since then.
Wow.
You understand what I'm saying? So even in 2008, when we
look at
had
the incarceration rate back then too.
Yeah.
So some of us aren't able to vote, not exercise right.
Black people as a whole
weren't able to vote right back then.
But still, 69% of registered voters voted. Right. So you take it now, 2008, 80 million people still didn't vote when Obama was running for president in 2008. All that excitement, all that buzz, all that information, all the talk about history, and 80 million people said, nah, I'm straight. 100 million people, these are registered voters. We're not even talking about people who couldn't vote.
Right.
We're talking about people who are registered to vote. In 2016, 100 million people said, nah, I'm not going to do it. And so people can't be around here talking all revolutionary, talking about this, that, or the third. I want to do this, and not being a part of the process. Because what you'd be surprised is if we can get to 65, if we can get to 70, if we can get to 80% voter participation, you'll be like, oh wait, there is environmental cleanup. Oh snap, we do have better public transportation. Oh my goodness, we're actually getting, I'm getting, better health care. I'm getting better options, because at that point you have a sense of accountability. People are going to be running scared. Right now, folks ain't, people like to say, you can't bust a grape. They're like, nah, I know that half of my state ain't voting, so all I got to do is appeal to the few that do and keep it moving.
Wow. Ruben, is there anything that the NAACP is backing that we need to pay attention to? I know you said you guys have a guide, but is there anything specific that you want to pull out that we need to tell our listeners?
The main one is Amendment 4. We're definitely supporting Amendment 4. That we believe that those of us, that there should be no taxation without representation. So you have those returning citizens that are coming back in, and that they should, if they paid their debt to society, they should be able to exercise their right to vote. So that's the number one thing that we're supporting right now from the NAACP.
Yeah.
Anything else y'all got coming up that we should be aware of?
We got a mayoral form for Opelika that's coming up.
Commissioner form, right?
Pardon me?
And the commissioner form is goes before that, right?
And the commissioner form that's coming before that, right? So the mayoral form is going to be on the 23rd of this month at the Shirvandi Village, and the commissioner form is going to be on the 16th of this month at Shirvandi Village. It's going to start. The commissioner form will start at 6, and the mayoral form will start at 7. So we'd like for you guys to come on out. We need to save our city. Opelika was one of the.
Walker, what is it? Tisha Walker?
One
of them.
Huh?
I can't. I know it's like Tisha Walker
the full
something.
Name of the city.
Opelika.
Yeah. Well, it has been one of the long-standing black cities. Okay. So that's one of the things that we need to preserve. As you look at gentrification and what's going on, we're losing the Grove. We darn near lost the Grove.
Yeah.
Overtown, we almost lost that. Opelika is one where it's the demographics are changing, and one of the things we want to do is make sure that we keep that city. So we need to have leadership in there that's accountable. We want to make sure that we have people there, the citizens of Opelika, get out and vote, and make sure that they have some people in there that's going to do right by the city of Opelika. So that's something that we definitely want to encourage you to do.
Yeah. Shout out to Matt Pocket. I'm sorry. I'm gonna just say it.
Hey, you can say that. I gotta be neutral. I can't.
I know, I gotta be neutral.
What was that
Don't nobody pay me.
I ain't getting paid either.
Matt and Chris.
One of the things that we want to try to improve upon is that that age group between 20 to about 35. A lot of those folks are not really involved with the NAACP. Some of them know the history, some of them don't know the history and the contributions that the NAACP has made. And so one of the things we want to do is really activate our youth. Not saying that you can't be involved with any other organizations, but we really want to activate our youth, young adults, to be a part of the NAACP so that when we mobilize, we have all age groups covered. Mm-hmm. And so folks may not feel that we're open to that, but you're hearing from the president right now, and I'm telling you, we're welcoming younger folks to be involved. And the way that you can get involved is come out to New Way Baptist Church on the third Monday of the month. It's at 16800 Northwest 22nd Avenue. Or go on the NAACP website. Just Google Miami-Dade branch of the NAACP, and you'll get our social media sites and our website, so that you can go on. You can join online. You can get all of the latest information that we have. All right. So I want to encourage you all to do that.
I want to say this to your point, because I got an opportunity to work on the 30th anniversary.
Yes, you did. Did a good job, by the way.
So when I was sitting there and I'm taking in all this information, I'm like, fuck, I don't know all this shit. And I'm like, what if all of us that was like my age and under really knew? Like, if people really understood,
the history.
Miami's special, but just overall, it made me think about just overall the NAACP. And what they've been able to do since inception, and when we
didn't even get to what we did since inception. We covered most of it, but we didn't.
You get what I'm saying? We didn't even cover. We only covered literally the 30 years.
Yeah, right,
we didn't cover the part before.
Right. Father Gibson.
With Father Gibson.
Yeah.
So we didn't even cover too much of that part.
Right.
But the thing is that, I said to say, like, it's a lot of history, and you guys have definitely been a staple in every pocket of every urban community. Has always been like, this is the formula.
Right.
No matter, young people, we want to reinvent the wheel so many times, but it just made me sit there like, I sat back and said, why are we steadily reinventing the wheel when it's already there?
Right.
And we want to be too radical or whatever, but it's already there.
Nah, I'm gonna tell you, I believe that we need both.
No, I'm with it.
I believe we need both.
We do need that new energy.
And a Martin.
We do need that new energy, but at the same time, when it comes on a civic engagement,
right,
because everybody has their role,
right?
And I'm big on that, right? And on a civic engagement level, it's like that's NAACP,
that's right.
Pocket. You know what I mean? Like, look, follow what they've been doing because they've been doing it longer than you, and just get it done.
What's interesting, you bring that up. So arguably, there are about 50 million black people in the country. Imagine if half of them joined the NAACP and what that just have.
Yeah.
And for an individual organization to say we have 25 million members nationwide, that's power. You know what I'm saying?
Jewish PAC name?
Oh, APAC.
APAC, yeah, exactly.
Right, but that's power to be. Think about the NRA. Like, understand what people don't understand about the NRA is the legal purchase of a firearm guarantees you participation in the NRA. So understand what I mean by that. When you purchase a gun in Florida legally, you become an NRA member. So when the NRA stands up and says we have X amount of members, it's not even talking about active. You know what I'm saying? Like it's talking about these members, but it's members by default. So I think for black people, for people of color, for these civil rights organizations that exist, it's important for you. And this is going to be a quick sales pitch to the president. People who pay for Netflix, and I know some of y'all ever just borrowing passwords, but people who pay for Netflix, right, are basically paying $120 a year to enjoy all the streaming services of Netflix. $120 a year. How much is a year annual membership to the NAACP?
$30 for general membership. Yeah, $30
for local or national.
No, you just $30 period. Whether you want to be a part of our branch or you just want to be a member at large, it's $30.
So you out here flexing for $120 a year so you can watch all your shows, but when it comes to getting brutalized by the police, and you sitting there like, man, I wish there was an organization out there that was doing something about police brutality.
Let me tell you something.
I was pissed I ain't gonna lie. One of the things I did get pissed. Sitting there like, why my mama ain't never put me in NAACP? She knew what the hell was I literally had to ask her a few times. Like I ever asked my old boy, like, man, why y'all ain't have me in this? Why y'all was move me over here? But go ahead.
Well, one of the things I want to say to you is that one of the beautiful parts about the NAACP, people don't really recognize it until they need it.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you that when I get the calls, if you just hear the calls that I get. And of course, we can't help everyone, but when there's a civil rights issue that's at hand, and I get calls from people from all walks of life. I mean, folks who are in the state legislature later and all of that. But when I get calls, the majority of the calls I receive are not from members. So they get the benefits of the NAACP,
but they don't want to put it
but they're not joining or they're not participating in that way. So one of the things we want to do is definitely encourage folks to come on out. Sign up, be a part, but be active because we are so much stronger together. If we work together, we are so much stronger together. One of the things I want to say, and I don't mean to go south on this, but my concern about our community is that we lose focus. Mm-hmm. So someone went to a meeting the other day and they said, well, where was the NAACP before this? Right? So you have people that speak out of turn because they don't know what's going on. Everything is not about what you're doing for the photograph or that sort of thing. Exactly. There may be things happening behind the scenes to address the issue that you're not even aware of, right? And so that's one of the problems. What happens is we get so caught up in the distraction to where we start fighting each other and lose focus on what our cause is. And I want us to have more discussion about how we need to stay focused because we're so easily distracted. I'm sure you can speak to that.
Hey. Keep your eye on the prize.
but Ruben, do you think that the NAACP needs some rebranding or just educating the community that you're still there, that you're still working? Because just being real, up until a couple of years ago, I thought it was like, my grandmother's organization.
Have you been on Facebook lately? Have you been on the social media?
Honestly, thanks to you, because you've been more active recently, more than the past presidents.
Right.
I see that the NAACP is active, but before I didn't really know what was going on. It seemed like it was just for an older generation. It didn't seem like it was for me.
Yeah, this is not your mama or your grandmama's NAACP no
more. But what I'll do is I'll push back a little bit, right? So Wells Fargo's a bank.
Right.
Wells Fargo's been a bank since the 1820s.
Right.
Ain't nobody out here asking for Wells Fargo to rebrand. Bank of America made its money off of financing slave ships.
Yep.
In the 1700s. Ain't nobody removing their accounts from Bank of America. So what kills me is
we should.
They actually rushing to move their business accounts.
Right. But what kills me about this, the Prudential, these longtime insurance companies who've made money off of exploiting, redlining, you name it, right? And yet, as someone, and I say this as a lifetime member of the NAACP, right, is like, why not just go ahead the same way we tuck away money in these banks, the same way we join or get magazine subscriptions and don't think about it, for $30 a year and for a lifetime membership, it's not all that extraordinary either, and you can just kind of put it away, know you're always there, and always be able to refer to it in times of need. And this would, so the challenge for me as a black person is we have to get off of this. Well, I want to join something that's going to net me something.
Thank you.
In the immediate, or I need to feel. Thank you. I need a T-shirt that comes with it, or I need to.
Thank you.
That's how credit cards got us in college, right?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? You get out there, somebody on the yard, they're like, sign up here for this T-shirt, and you're like, what? And now you sitting there with a 320 credit score, wondering why.
320.
You know what I'm saying? Wondering why you paying $1,800 for a studio apartment. Wondering why your car note on a Honda Civic is $700.
Yep.
All because it goes back to a T-shirt that you lost 15 years ago.
Yep.
Right? And so all I'm saying is, like, we have to be more cognizant, and it really correlates with the whole voting thing. People will feel like, oh, if I do this, they need some sort of immediate justification for why I did it. Like, once I do this, I want the gamification of this to happen. Like, I want to be able to bubble this thing in, submit my paperwork, and have a prize coming out the end.
Yeah.
Like, listen, your freedom was bought with blood shed.
Right.
By people who you've never met.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Who you owe your very existence to.
You don't even know their names.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, people who took it on the chin so that you can walk around with your pants sagging. You can walk around and get, drop a studio album or not drop a studio album. So you can walk around on rims or not, to wear sneakers, to do all the things that we sort of take for granted, just the everyday. Someone paid the ultimate price for that. I ain't even talking about the Harriet Tubmans or the Frederick Douglass. I'm talking about the Trayvon Martins. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about the Jordan Davises, the people who will have to now live in our memories to move the conversation forward. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. From the Emmett Till to Trayvon Martin and everybody in between, from the Sandra Bland to Rakia McBoyd, Rakia Boyds of the world, women and men who've sacrificed, who've given up. And we gotta have, for everybody, we have to get off of this whole, I need something to justify my attachment, because
not only that is it's what have you done for me lately,
The other side ain't worried about that.
Ain't worried about it. But one of the things that I think you're talking about, and it is so apropos because you come from a line of this. So one of the things that I think I hear you saying is about legacy, respecting our legacy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If we don't understand where we've come from, as Dwight is just through his epilogue going through this whole thing, we can't understand where we're going, our future. And so when you have historic institutions that are the foundation of our community, the foundation of who we are as a people, then you want to go. If you feel that they're not where they need to be, then you need to join to make them better. You understand what I'm saying? So the thing is that we definitely, as a people, really need to be able to appreciate the legacy of these institutions, not just NAACP, Urban League, whatever institutions that are out there that really made the way for us, you know. And I think that's something. So I appreciate you, bruh, speaking on behalf. But I do know we do have to do some things for those folks who may not have that consciousness, and they're looking for something bright and shiny today. So I agree, even though I agree with Dwight that we shouldn't have to do that. But I do recognize that is something that you need to attend to so that you can bring them on board. Then once they see what's going on, then they can gain a better appreciation for it.
But I just think it's marketing, like in keeping that information and educating people constantly about what it is, because you named those big corporations, but they've had commercials running for 50 years. Yeah. I get it's a money thing too, but I feel like there needs to be some type of ongoing outreach.
If you read the paper, see, this is what I'm saying about legacy and that sort of thing. One of the things that there are things that are being written about the stuff that's going on, the things that we're doing. But if you're out of touch with those mediums, if you're not getting that information, then that's why we have to go that extra mile and do the social media type of thing or do the website type of thing. But the information is in the paper. I mean, you go down and you go to Miami Times and Google, put in NAACP or just Google NAACP and see what's written in there.
So the stuff you're talking about would be like, for instance, ACLU puts out a new disparity study, but behind the scenes, I know y'all was working.
Yeah, we together with it, man. The ICP thing that we're working on, and Memorial Day weekend.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, the firefighters.
And I think all it is, and we're not coming at it, and I know you don't feel this way, but
no.
We're not coming at it from a sense of like, millennials just feel like y'all just whack. Like, no. It's more or less like, how can we make this better? Yeah, because at the end of the day, we don't know.
So let me tell you one of the biggest challenges that y'all gonna face. It is an organization that's been around since 1909, and so it's an organization that's highly structured.
Exactly.
One of the things about it, and I hope I don't offend anyone, millennials operate differently than those old, historic institutions that are highly structured like that, and that's one of the challenges that in terms of getting millennials.
But that's the beauty of what I found while I was doing the work, because I was like, this is an organization that we always talk about foundation, but no, the foundation, the structure is there.
Right.
Then you take into account the game changer theory strategies that's there.
Right.
Like, it's not like
the blueprint is there.
The blueprint is there.
Right there.
It's like, how many people want to follow this blueprint, or how many people want to take their own and then go somewhere else.
Exactly.
But what I need people to understand though is this ain't a sprint, and I think I think people need to understand like change. Like people want to feel as though that they clicked on a website or they signed a petition, and then that's all they need to do. And what I'm saying, what I mean by it in terms of making the investment is, you take. What happened to Mike Brown and Ferguson.
Right.
Yep.
So immediately after that, they said there had to be the creation of some 25, 30 different nonprofits in the St. Louis, Ferguson area of folks who were just like, that's it, I want to get active and do what I need to do. Here we are in 2018 and less than 5 still exist. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like less than 5. So everyone wanted a reactionary moment where they thought, 2, 3, 4 months down the line, I'm gonna demand this thing. I'm gonna get police reform.
It was trending,
and I'm ready to go.
Exactly.
And if I stand in these streets long enough, if I do a week of action, if I do 10 days of action, or if I do a 30-day protest online, all's gonna be right at the end of the 30 days. And all I'm saying for folks is, bus boycott Montgomery took 388 days just to kick off.
That's right.
Just to kick off the larger modern-day civil rights struggle, right? So it took 388 days just to get the incremental step that ballooned into the March on Washington's and the Civil Rights Acts and the Voting Rights Acts, and we're still not done, right? And so what I need people to understand is, if you're going to start it, stick to it, but understand that there's a struggle in that. That you take a podcast like Trapping Ain't Dead, it can't live in some sort of 10-episode thing and then go away and act like
Exactly.
Like the problems all of a sudden gonna go away with it. The reality is you have to keep doing what you're doing with consistency in order to keep people informed and keep people engaged. And yes, NAACP can tweak on this, get a social media presence, do all the other stuff. But at the end of the day, we need people to stop being ignorant about the things that affect them. And what I mean by ignorant is people always say, well, you calling me stupid? You calling me no. Root word, you're ignoring. Ignorant. You are ignoring that which is right there in front of you. The ills of society are kicking you behind, kicking your ass every day. You see it, but then you're shoulder shrugging in terms of, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know where I need to go. I don't know who I need to go to. I'm feeling a sense of loss. I'm feeling these challenges. And all I'm saying is, like, literally, past the first Google page is the answer, right? You know what I'm saying? Right past, like, once you scroll through those first 10, it's like, oh, there's an answer right beyond that. You know what I'm saying? Like, once, you know, like, you can go to NAACP.org and all of a sudden, people just like, I don't want to click the rest of the page. Like the contact us. How about that? The membership button. Click on that. Like the, let me pull down what they do. You know, it's those kinds of things where people just kind of want, like, you can't Instagram this. You know what I'm saying? I get what people are accustomed to, but we have to push past
put
that.
in some work too.
That we have to put the max effort in.
Yeah. I mean, bring it home to Miami. I mean, you talk about boycott Miami.
I know that really touched you when you saw that.
Like, because
every Smith is a beast.
Is a beast.
Know that.
Yeah, you know. But the reason why it touched me so much, mainly because I got family members that they used to always be like, yeah, we did boycott Miami, and we always talk about, and like me and V's thing has always been economics and policy and business. We don't care about all. We could do the social justice stuff all at the end of the day, but if we don't bring the money back, or if we're not affecting this money. And we, you know what I'm saying? Or like Manny says, you know, follow the economic trail, you know, follow the money, you see it, the paper trail. So with boycott Miami, that was one time where I seen Miami successfully said, hell no, we ain't having Black Miami did it and said, hell no, we ain't having it. And that's something monumental, you know, that what it was, 5 months, 6 months?
No, it was longer than that.
It was longer than that, but it was it was much longer, but I'm just saying, like, just for a formal apology. They said nothing was going to change until the apology came first.
Right.
We got a multitude of issues, you know, with the Haitians, with the immigration and the Haitians that were preceded all these things before Mandela, which was what it was. But it was like, let's start with the apology. If the apology don't happen, I don't care what happens. And it was one time that we stood up, we said no, enough is enough. And we actually boycotted with our money, with businesses, and we showed, and it was a representative thing for me, because that was like, okay, this is the same people who in the power structure now, and we look at them like they ain't. I'm like, no, they still got it. Like they been there. Well,
some of them are still there. Not all of them. A lot of them. Some of them are gone. But one of the things is we really don't recognize our economic power as a people.
Yeah,
and that's what that speaks to. The organizers back then, NAACP, H.T. Smith, and all those who were involved, understood the economic power and understood. You know, Miami Beach suffered immensely.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at how many of the conventions that were slated to come that did not come as a result of the boycott. So one of the things that we have to understand, we spend a lot of money. We spend a lot of money. Look at the events that just happened this weekend. You had Carnival. You had 2 or 3 carnivals happening this weekend. You had
FSU game.
FSU game. Look at
family homecoming.
Family homecoming. Yeah. Look at how much money that we spend. If you look at it, even though we're probably the most, as a people, we're not compensated at the rate that we should be for the work that we do, but we consume so much.
Oh, yeah.
We consume so much, and I think that those organizers understood that, and that's where the power came. Now we need to bring. This is how legacy really helps. So if you by you watching it and putting the video together, this is where we need to get the younger folks to say, listen, this is what happened here. Yeah. This is something that we can model this thing and do some things that we need to do in our city, in our county today to make some changes happen.
Exactly. God willing, you know, he Ruban to make it happen for me. He know I gotta holler at a few folks, but we gonna do that boycott Miami. I talked to a few members of the team, and they were
definitely.
we gonna do it. We trying trying to have a trailer ready by the first quarter of the year. Well, we don't know. Maybe. We just want to do it right.
Hey, speak it into existence, brother.
Yeah, because that's a story that need to be told. I think no.
Yeah.
So
Miami folk don't know it.
Y'all haven't talked about the Florida new majority as much lately.
Yeah, because y'all doing a lot. Y'all
I mean,
moving, shaking, V's over there.
Slightly
You over
busy.
there?
We're slightly busy out here.
What is the Florida new majority?
Well, it's the new Florida majority.
New Florida majority.
Yeah.
Let's be clear.
I mean, wasn't it a different name?
Yeah, it was.
Don't shade me.
But when Dwight stepped in, he was like, "Hey, yo, this is the new Florida majority."
No, but think about it. At its core, we recognize that the new majority of Florida are going to be black and brown people at the end of the day, and sooner than 2050 in places like Florida, Arizona, Georgia even, and that's why you're seeing these trends happen in these spaces. When we think about economic power and going back to that, the national buying power of black people is $1 trillion. You know what I mean? But when we think about the economic and spending capital, and in places like Florida, when we got the Super Bowl coming in 2020, we got the national championship game coming next year. All these different things that are happening for us is where the black dollar needs to be showcased, but it needs to be showcased in a way where people understand that we're not just going to go out buying these hotel rooms and these tickets and new outfits for these events. We, without y'all letting us have a piece of the pie, and a real significant piece of the pie. And that's, I think, definitely, I know we spent some time saying millennials have to, stop asking for so much. But one thing I give the millennials credit for is they give no fucks, right? On some in comparison to their predecessors.
Zero.
Right? But you have to really capitalize on that energy, right? You can't just it just can't be about what you want to say or do or spaces you want to occupy. You got to harness that energy and say, all right, unapologetically, I'm also going to recognize my abilities, my power, and harness it and move agendas forward. And that's the big thing, is to sit down with elders and be like, all right, listen, we can talk about all of our different faults and misgivings, but I want to know, I got this collectively this much money and I got this many people back in my play, where we need to move it. What's the community that we need to think about making our own? How do we make Miami Gardens great? How do we make sure Liberty City is thriving? How do we, all these communities that are historically black are doing it? And that's the work that New Florida Majority is trying to do, is give a sense of civic empowerment and understanding that, if you build collective power, great things can happen.
I agree. I don't know much one, but much. Yeah, well, he'll cut that out. This dance space.
The pregnant pause?
Yeah, pregnant pause.
You want to pause it until he comes back?
I don't even know how to work that thing.
Take a commercial break to recognize salesmanship.
You know Dwight can rap. He can bust a rhyme for you right quick.
Even remotely close to rapping.
Yeah, so there's a pause that you're gonna have to cut out.
Because once you got up, she was like, "Where we going?"
Yeah, where we going?
Yeah, we're at 55 minutes. Yeah.
I guess we can close out with this state of Black Miami forum.
Oh yeah.
That happened today. So I guess
not today.
When it was?
That was yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
So can we I guess close out with I guess your thoughts on the state of Black Miami, going forward, how we should be moving forward, or how you intend to move forward.
So one of the things I want to say is I'm hoping that we can get to a point to where we don't have to have a state of Black Miami address, telling folks how we feel that we should be treated or how we're treated harshly or that sort of thing. We covered some grounds. I was on the social justice panel. Daniela Pierre, who's also the housing chair for us, was on the housing committee, and Dodie Joseph was on the social justice committee with me as well, on a panel with me as well. So one of the things we really highlighted was just some of the disparities in terms of incarceration in Miami, how things can be done a little bit differently. So I talked about bail reform, the cash bail reform being a priority, where folks can who can't afford to pay a bail and had not committed any heinous crimes or anything like that, where they can bond out on their own recognizance and that sort of thing. I thought it was overall they covered education, they covered housing, they covered social justice issues, and I thought it was a very good forum overall. I just think that I'm growing tired of going to these events where we continue to just talk about the problems that we have, and not really focusing on solutions. And I think our solutions, a lot of the solutions that we have, or a lot of solutions that we need to address, need to happen within our walls, and not looking at how government is going to make a change for us, but how we make a change for us. And I think that's where the real issue lies for me. So some of the issues that exist as far as our relationship to government, they're going to be there regardless. But there's some things that we can do as a people. And I think Dwight was speaking to some of those. I was speaking to some of those earlier about understanding legacy, how to promote the agencies that have been there, for the entities that have been there for long periods of time. How do you keep them standing strong? How do we keep our families strong? How do we pass on information to our young brothers and sisters so that they can, make some right decisions and that sort of thing? I think that those are the things that when we talk about the state of black in Miami, I think that that's what we need to do. Far too much is happening in our community at our hands. Negative things that are happening at our hands. You can say that, it's a byproduct of something larger that's happening from the governmental side, but still at the end of the day, it's happening at our hands. And I think that we need to be in control. We need to take back control of our communities. We need to build up our youth. We need to build up families. We need to do the things that we need to do to make our community stronger again.
I agree.
I'm not comfortable until the state of Black Miami officially is 2 words: we good. And until we get to that point, we're going to continue to have work to do, but understand that's work. It's hard. It's not sexy. It's going to take time, and we have to stay committed to the cause. That's not to say we can't, listen to trap music in between or go to brunch or do everything that comes with having fun, but, keep your eye on the ball. Keep your eye on the prize. Ultimately, we all trying to get free around here. But the same way, if we're all trying to pursue freedom, we also have to recognize that there's someone out there trying to take that away, And if you don't think that there's an enemy afoot trying to take advantage of your freedom, then you clearly ain't been watching the news in the last 10 years. Or you ain't leaving, you're walking out the door, you ain't thinking about these people who've been affected by it. So until we get to the point where the state of Black Miami is literally, we good, we got work.
Janae, closing thoughts?
I can't follow up that. I think they laid it all out on the line. Fellas, can you let our listeners know how they can follow you on social media, or the best way to get in contact with you? Dwight, you can kick it off.
New Florida Majority, at New Florida Majority. At New FL Majority on Instagram. Same thing with Twitter as well. You can definitely check us out on the web, newfloridamajority.org. You can check me out on all social media, Dwight Bullard on Twitter, Dwight Bullard _ on Instagram. Look forward to conversing with y'all. I welcome all haters, trolls, everybody else to come on through. And if I got time, we'll do it.
You definitely don't want to battle with that brother right there, because he's definitely a wordsmith and he got something for you. But listen, Miami-Dade branch at the NAACP.com. You can go on Facebook by Miami-Dade branch at the NAACP, Twitter, all of that. You can reach me at Ruban Rob on Facebook and on Instagram as well.
Awesome. What about you, Munch? How can they reach you?
Machiavelli _ Munch. All Like Minds Media, man. Just follow All Like Minds Media. We got a lot of stuff coming up. ALLLIKEMINDS Media. All Like Minds Media. Janae?
Thank you. You remembered to ask me.
Shade. You like the raid commercial? Shade.
You guys can follow me. I'm going to plug the blog at Hilo News, HYLONEWS. That's on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And you can follow my personal page at Janae Tate, JANEYTATE. It's a good show. Not what we planned, but definitely better than what it needed to be. Like, this was awesome.
We made it happen. That's what we do. I appreciate y'all for coming on the show, you know.
Thank you.
Blessing us with y'all presence, giving us 30 minutes after y'all been talking on the panel for I don't know how long already.
And this can't be the last time. Give us some updates. We got to check back in with y'all.
Yeah, you know, I'm about to be. I need to be on New FM media list.
Oh no, and join the NAACP. I didn't know it was just $30. Like,
join the NAACP.
I eat that in a day.
Pay the 30. I ain't finna put nobody out there, but you know, if you got 5 on it, you got 30 on it. That's all I'm gonna say. Appreciate y'all. Good night.